Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome my very next guest, Mr. Jeffrey Tesch.
We don't talk about money or sex in America.
Awesome that you flew literally across the country.
Yes, sir.
To be here is a very privilege for me that you're here. And I love the industry that you're in general, because it's how I got my start. Without guys like you, I wouldn't be anywhere I'm at right now. And so I cannot wait to dive into what you guys do at your company and how many people it helps that would probably without your company ever even be able to get into the lifestyle that they're trying to accomplish right now. So it's an awesome opportunity that you provide for people. I want to get into that with you, but before I do that, I want to back up just a little bit. For the viewers that don't know who you are right now, let's talk a little bit about what was it like growing up, Jeffrey, or Jeff, I should say. What was it like growing up, Jeff? What was that childhood like?
Yeah, so for me, I grew up in Connecticut, born and raised.
Oh, really?
My whole life spent in Connecticut. Grew up in a small farm town. More dairy cows than people.
Oh, wow.
When I was growing up.
Now, was Connecticut known for farming, for
yeah,
dairy?
in the northern part of the state.
Okay, I see.
A ton of dairy.
All right.
Myself, my brother, my two parents, always had a bit of an entrepreneurial streak to me.
Okay.
Started the paper route. For those of you that know what a paper route is, they would drop the papers at your house.
Not wrapped.
Not wrapped. They put them in a bundle, tied up.
Yeah.
And it would be your responsibility to hop on typically a bicycle, 2 racks on the bike.
Oh, yeah.
And then circle. And all this occurred before school. It was a morning paper.
Yeah.
Started that at 9, worked all the way to 16.
So from 9 years old to 16, you're in the paper route.
I had that paper route, and it was good money.
Yeah.
It was good money back in the day.
And so you said you have 2 brothers?
One brother.
One brother?
Yep. And then eventually, my parents divorced, and we ended up having a much larger family.
Okay.
My mom remarried and ended up with 2 more sisters and 2 more brothers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You got the blended family on the later years of
So here's a great story for you, Andrew. So my full biological brother's name is Greg.
Okay.
And then from there, I picked up another Greg and another Jeff.
Oh, wow. So you got Greg and Jeff and Greg and Jeff.
What are the odds?
What are the odds? That is, so what did you call each other?
Yeah, actually, I'm Jeff.
Okay.
My stepbrother is Geoff.
Oh, a little bit different
So if there was
spelling.
any confusion, it was Geoff.
Geoff.
Love
That's
it.
great. Now, you said you had a kind of an entrepreneur spirit growing up. Where do you think that came from? Were your parents entrepreneurs or?
Yeah, not at all.
No?
I'll tell you, the real gotcha moment for me was in high school.
Okay.
I had a sophomore class on entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And even though I already had the paper route at that time, like all these bells started going off in my head. Little like, wait a minute, you can buy this for that much and then resell it and make a profit?
Yeah.
That seems like a really good idea to me.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, I was always interested in how you could make money through the amazing system that we have.
Yeah.
It always interested me.
It's amazing that I think sometimes yesterday we had an interview with a guy that was heavy. His family came from Italy, and he was kind of newer. He's been here. He was born and raised here, but still had a lot of Italian, immigrant with him. And it's amazing. He was talking about it as well yesterday, the opportunity that we have here, and how powerful opportunity is in America. And you think about all the people that are trying to get in for good, right?
Yeah.
That are trying to get in to just get a living and just make some money for the land of opportunity. It's really an awesome place we live.
Yeah, I used to go to this Greek diner all the time, and the owner got friendly with the owner.
Sure.
And he was going away on holiday for a month back to Greece, you know, and when you picture Greece, you picture the islands and the
yeah.
water and the white buildings.
The white and the blue.
And he came back, and I said, "Hey, Ethan, how was your trip?" He goes, "Hey, it was okay." I'm like, "What? It's beautiful." He goes, "I get back to the United States, I kiss the ground, buddy."
Wow.
I said, "Really?" He goes, "Nothing else like it in the world."
Yeah.
And really what he was talking about was the ability to be an entrepreneur and make money and all that comes with it.
Yeah.
And I never forget that. Never forget it.
I love it. I love where we live. I'm a proud American. Is what I
Yeah,
call myself.
absolutely.
So you go through this childhood. You have this paper route.
Yeah.
You go to high school. You kind of get the bug even deeper at this point.
Right.
Now tell us a little bit. Catch us up more to the end now. Kind of where you're at right now in life. What is your business doing now? What do you guys do now?
Yeah, so back in 2010,
Okay.
myself and a longtime business associate started a company focused on private lending. And now what does private lending mean?
Yeah.
Well, in 2010, as everyone knows, it was a residential meltdown across the United States.
Right.
The way we were looking at it is there's a tremendous number of opportunities out there for entrepreneurs to buy properties, rehabilitate them, and put those homes back into the marketplace for families to live.
Yeah.
Whether it be foreclosure or short sale, however that home was becoming distressed, we were seeing those opportunities. And we thought at that time that it would be an amazing point to start a company that took a product that was always in the shadows, which was asset-based lending from a commercial nature on the single-family home, take that product and professionalize it,
Yeah.
and really build a business built around commercial lending for the non-owner occupied residential homeowner.
So heavy focus is an investor based. Do you do any personal home owner occupied?
Correct. So it's strictly commercial lending,
Okay.
no owner-occupied lending at all. We wanted to build this company to really empower the entrepreneurs across the United States
Yeah.
to be able to leverage what they were already doing with access to capital.
One thing I want to talk about, I think for my viewers listening right now, is of course a lot of these viewers are real estate investors to some degree, and you know there are. I want to give you some. You're being what I believe is very, very humble, which is who you are as a person, I think, throughout. But I really want to kind of make sure my viewers understand there's lenders that are out there that are great, that are maybe in a local market or whatever it is, a region that do a handful of loans. But you've really taken this to the next level. You guys have found a way, in your terms, professionalize this market. And you guys are now doing, how many loans are you guys doing in a year, in a month? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's anywhere between 250 and 300 loans a month.
A month. That is absolutely crazy. Where a lot of guys and girls in this industry that may be doing a type of lending are maybe around that 10 loans,
Right.
A year, that not a month, but a year almost that they're pulling off. The smaller, guys.
Sure.
And you have taken a way to find a way to actually really scale this and systemize this approach of lending here. Two questions I thought of when you were talking. Number one, you started this business in 2010, which I think is extremely unique. Obviously, that was the crash, and we were in the almost near the bottom. It was, if you guys can remember, that was almost like doomsday. Everything on the news was horrible. What was that like, launching a business in real estate when real estate was kind of the driving force, if you will, or at least was accused of the driving force of collapsing the market, and then you went and started the real estate in the middle of it.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that seems like a lot of risk, fear.
It was a lot of risk at the time. But the way we looked at it was there was so much opportunity in this asset class
Okay.
that if we put in the proper procedures and policies to make sure that the customer was making money on the transaction through our underwriting, right?
Okay.
Almost a partnership between ourselves and the customer, making sure that they were getting into a scenario where they were going to make money.
Right.
If that was our standard, then we probably had a pretty good chance at success. That's how we looked at it.
Did you have any? I want to follow on that statement there, but before I do that, did you have anybody around you in your circle say, "Jeff, you're out of your mind. You have lost your marbles here on this one. You're a great businessman, but not on this one. Did you have anybody push you like that?
Yeah, there was no shortage of people who told me this asset class, this product, right, was something that couldn't be professionalized. That was really where the negativity was coming in. Yeah, we could deploy single asset loans, and you could maybe make some money on these things, but the ability to be able to scale it and take a product that had never really been scaled before, there was no shortage of naysayers that told me that it was always going to be a niche class, and that no matter how hard you tried, you wouldn't be able to build a national footprint and really become the commercial lender that you were laying out those early aspirations for.
Yeah, a statement you made that I think I want to go down a little rabbit trail here with you was you talked about how when you guys started this business, you guys wanted to almost partner with the investor. Let's just use the word flipper for now. Buy, fix, and sell investor. And you used the word you almost wanted to partner with them. I have a thought there, but I want to see, why did you want to partner with them?
Yeah, so the way we looked at it was, if we could provide the back office support for them to be another set of eyes on the transaction that they were entering into, that was a win for both of us.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, Andrew, when we say no to a customer, it's a no that they don't necessarily like to hear. But what we do is we provide them the reasons why it's no, whether it be appraisal, return on investment, any number of reasons that it would be no. But really, when I say partnership, it's because they shouldn't be entering into that transaction. Sometimes they say, okay, we can get the money elsewhere, and they go off. That happens.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we've had no shortage of customers that come back and say to us, thank you. Thank you for that no. It made us make more money on the next transaction.
Now, this is where I want to go down this road with you, because I think kind of in this industry that exists, and I'm going to use the terminology hard money lender, which is used quite a bit here. There is this kind of maybe, and not all of them by any means, but there is this kind of maybe like thought or feeling that it's the shark predatory, I'm trying to take your house, get you to do all this, put this money up and so forth. I'm going to foreclose because it's not going to work out, et cetera. Is that why you guys were so keen on partnering versus there's lenders out there that almost to a certain degree want to take back the property?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're 100% correct, which is hard money lending has been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
But when we created our company, I wanted the customer interaction to be one of a professional nature, where the customer's expectations were the only way RCN Capital is ever going to make any money is on the interest that we're charging.
Yeah.
And when you use the word partnership in that connotation, that's it.
Right.
I want my customer to make money for selfish reasons, really, because I know if they make money,
exactly,
they're coming back.
Right.
Again,
it's a
and
repeat
again,
customer
and
over
again.
and over. In everything in business is always about, especially today's industry, is about putting the customer first. Customer first values, I think, are massive in any industry, but especially like today's market.
Yeah.
And you still see a lot of people though that are going after money first versus customer first. You think that's part of your success of your business, is always going that value of the customer first?
It is, and I use this analogy a lot with my team, my leaders, and really the company in general, which is, at the end of the day, we're selling gasoline here, right?
Okay.
Money in today's environment is available to the investor like never before. So when that customer is driving down the road, they have choices of which gas station they're going to pull into. But 9 times out of 10, that customer is going to pull into the gas station that has the neat and clean environment out at the pumps. It's well lit, and they are being treated fairly.
Yeah.
It might not always be the cheapest price. They might pay a penny or two more per gallon because they don't really want to go into that other station where they're not going to be treated fairly.
Right.
Andrew, I use this analogy all the time with them because I want my team to understand our customers have choices, and the only way that we're going to win is by being that neat, clean station where the interaction is always transparent, and they come back again and again and again.
It's a great analogy because as you're telling it, I'm thinking about myself, and it's amazing because you're right. Anytime that I can, where I live at, if I can stop at a gas station called Racetrack or stop at a gas station called Quick Trip, where I'm located, I always know it's clean. The bathrooms are clean. The store's clean. I always was well lit. The pumps are clean. And their employees are always very friendly, outgoing to you there. And I hardly ever, even though I may pay, like you said, a little bit more, I don't know, but I on purpose will go out of my way to go to that one, past other gas stations that may not have that same value there.
Yeah, and it's an analogy that works every time because as a national footprint, we're an internet-based lender. I mean, we don't get the chance very often to meet our customers one-on-one.
Yeah.
So when they pick up the phone and call their representative at our company, that interaction needs to be seamless, time and time again, from its commitment all the way to closing to post-closing. Everybody needs to know what those expectations are again and again and again.
Now, one thing for people that don't know you and how you lead your company and so forth, I want to dive a little bit into your culture that you've created at your company. I think kind of in maybe the bubble that we all kind of live here in this industry, if you will. You're known at your company for some extremely awesome culture, which I think is incredibly important inside of company. I love culture in company. And I want you to give some insight about your philosophy on culture in a company. Before I do that, just so the audience can know, as far as staff, give us a ballpark number. How many staff members are you talking about here?
Yeah, we have about 120 employees at RCN.
So you have 120 different employees that you guys manage there, mainly out of Connecticut.
Most are out of Connecticut. A couple of remote offices, but most are in Connecticut.
All right, so let's talk about culture now, because you keep mentioning team
Yep.
on everything you say there. What's your overall philosophy on culture in a company?
Yeah, so, and folks, no matter what business that you're in, right? You need to really think about the kind of people that you're hiring from day one.
Right.
And we're in the mortgage origination business. Many of your folks enjoying this program today might be in the real estate business. They might be in mortgage business. They might be entrepreneurs in some other business that are aspiring to be in another business.
Sure.
Whoever you're hiring from day one, you need to think about what they are bringing to the table. The way we look at things is we want the employee who likes to be part of something bigger than themselves. We've created a culture, and it goes all the way back to 2010, where we're literally providing capital to folks who are buying homes and putting families back into those homes. Like, that's a story for an employee that can be proud of that, right? So while I like employees to be invested in themselves and thinking about their career path and providing for their families, I want employees who are really excited to be part of something that's growing, and they're going to grow themselves personally through that larger entity. And I can give this advice, and it has really worked out great for us over the last 10 years. If you take the time, and eventually your managers take the time to think about the hires that you're making, and will those people be true to your company and be part of growing that company, you will win over and over and over again.
Yeah, there's so many aspects of culture we could go down here, and there's a couple points I do want to bring up because I know that you have a lot of the kind of West Coast office traits, if you will. I want you to talk a little bit about that, what you got going on there, and then also a little bit about the farm that I've heard so much about around the office as well. Tell us about those two things, the West Coast and then the farm.
Yeah, so the West Coast mentality, which is a lot of the tech companies out west, provide amenities to their employees that make work a fun place. And we're really proud to have that. So we have a cafeteria that provides meals, right? Which is amazing. It's not so much amazing that you get a free lunch every day, which is nice. But what happens is, and obviously we're in the COVID environment, so it's made it a little different today, but the employees get to go out to lunch every day at work.
Yeah.
So no matter what your economic status is, whether you're just a new hire that just came out of college and you've got bills and you're still living at home with your parents, or you're an established manager, everybody gets to go out to lunch every day and sit around the same table and talk about work things, non-work things, sports, families.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's a big cost, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big cost you're eating there.
And it is absolutely worth every penny because, once again, the internal culture of people being able to share their lives with each other,
Right.
non-work related, when you take that economic pressure of going out to lunch off the table, it pays such a huge dividend.
And I think that's one thing about culture that in companies that maybe people in small business entrepreneurships don't understand, is that culture is just not saying something, it's also putting your money where your mouth is. And you got to invest in your culture. You can't just have a philosophy of culture. You got to invest in that culture so that everybody around you sees that you're very serious about your environment, your culture that you're putting out right there.
Yeah, no matter what type of business that you're in, if you invest in your employees, and it can't be, to your point, it can't be just lip service. It
Right.
just can't be. It can't be, yeah, we have fun and, we bring in pizza on Fridays once a month. It's got to be way more than that. It's got to be daily. Empowering your employees to grow internally, empowering your employees to collaborate with each other, and really setting the stage internally for those employees to have those kind of wins that they will be excited about and will enable your company to grow into the future.
Yeah, one thing for culture that I think is important to me here, and I want to get your insight on this, is always celebrating not just a holiday, but celebrating the success that we have as a team, as we have as a group, constantly trying to find ways to celebrate victories.
Yeah.
What's your philosophy on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we were speaking about this off camera, which is celebrating the little wins.
Yeah.
As much as we all like, semi-annual goals and annual goals and holiday parties, listen, 365 days is a long time.
Yeah.
You can't wait for those year-end goals to be able to celebrate along the way. We love to celebrate monthly, and
Right.
it can be as little as maybe somebody hit a personal goal where you're just celebrating that individual. Or it could be more where we've maybe had a record closing month and we bring in ice cream and everybody makes your own sundaes. Things like that. Last fall, we brought in a taco truck, right?
Yeah.
Even though we have our own cafeteria, it was cool to everybody go outside.
Yeah, something different.
And you mix it up. But it's celebrating. You're celebrating some sort of a win that everybody was a part of. And that's the key right there, is everybody is a part of, especially in the mortgage origination business. The loan officer who's working directly with the customer gets a lot of the accolades, but it's everybody else behind the scenes. It's the legal team.
Right.
It's the marketing team that helps drive the traffic. Accounting, technology, all of these different facets is what makes the success that everybody enjoys.
Yeah, I think a lot of times in company with culture, I compare to sports a lot, that it's almost like they want, it's like no one plays all baseball games for the entire season, but only celebrates that if you win the World Series.
Sure.
You have to have those wins along the way and the celebrations along the way so that everybody stays focused on where we're going with it. If not, it's just a mundane process of same thing over and over again. And hopefully you win at the end with your vision that you have for that year, your goals for the end of that year. So I want to take just a moment here because I still want to get back to the farm piece. And I've also heard some crazy stories about some Vegas trips with your staff and parties that I want to at least dive into so that the viewers really know when you say culture, it is a true thing at your company there. Before I do that, I want to go through a little segment here that, just to mix it up a little bit, that we call rapid fire. Okay, so this is going to be a rapid fire session here. That's the saw machine gun, fully automatic. We're going to go through. So these are going to be a handful of questions. You just tell me the first thing that comes into your head, and then we'll see if we circle back to some of these. Okay, I have no idea where we're going to go with this, so we'll see what we have today. New Haven white clam pizza, or a slice of New York City pepperoni pizza.
Oh, New Haven white clam every time.
Really? That good, huh? You're going to go with it.
Pepe's.
Pepe's? That's the place, that's the jam. More popular in Connecticut, Yukon Ladies, or men's basketball team?
UConn men's is more popular.
It is more popular because
Yes.
the ladies.
However, the UConn ladies are way outperforming the men the past few years.
Yeah, they're a world-renowned
absolutely.
women's basketball company there. What comes to mind when I say the word loan shark?
Guy on a corner.
Let's see here. Boston and New York City. Which is a better city for food and sports?
New York every time.
New York every time? Nothing to do with Boston?
A little biased here.
Are you a Yankees fan or Mets?
Yankees.
Yankees fan? Let's see. Biggest name band or performer you flipped concert tickets for?
So that would probably be back in the day, Journey.
Journey?
When they were on top of the world, nobody was bigger than Journey.
Really? And you were flipping tickets for them?
Back in the day.
That's some. That was before all RCN Capital.
That's exactly right.
Largest loan you've done to date?
I know we did a multifamily portfolio for about $8 million. That
On a multifamily?
it was a multifamily, and it was a rehab loan actually.
Rehab loan on it?
Yeah.
All right, this will be a funny one right here. Would you rather, so you choose one or the other, okay? Would you rather have an all-expense-paid trip to the Australian Open, which is on your list,
It's on my list.
but Joe Biden travels with you and is inside the cockpit during your flight, or a free week in a villa at Caesar's Palace in Vegas, which you also love, but you share a room with Nancy Pelosi for the whole week?
Oh, I think we're going to take Joe Biden and go to Australia. Absolutely.
That's going to be scary if he's in the cockpit, though.
I got to think if there's two people in the cockpit,
Okay.
we'll be all right.
We'll be all right if there's one more in there. Let's see. Last one I got here for you. A more old money, blue-blooded city, New Haven, Connecticut, or Newport, Rhode Island?
Oh, Newport.
Newport
Oh, yeah,
has that old money.
Old money in Newport every time.
Very good there. Let's move on here. I want to talk to you about, let's wrap up this little bit of thing here, culture. I want to talk about your farm real quick, and then also some of these parties. Tell me about the farm.
So at our workplace, there is what's known as a rescue farm.
Okay.
And basically what it is some chickens, and those eggs go into the cafeteria.
Okay.
There's also a goat and a couple of pot-belly pigs
Okay.
and one llama.
A llama.
So basically the farm was set up as a place where there were some rescue animals around town,
Sure.
around the community, and the farm was set up as a place where they could come, the employees could, come down and appreciate them. And it's really been a great way for the employees to get away from their desk, go down, say hello, clear their minds, and then come back. It's getting away from your desk at some point during the day, whether it be a walk around the building, walk in the park, whatever it is.
Sure.
I can't tell you how important it is for just clearing your mind and setting the setting the stage for an afternoon.
Yeah, very unique. I think we're the only companies I've ever heard of that has a farm.
Yeah, I mean,
there
we share the building with a software company, and the employees just love it.
That's
they
crazy.
just love it.
Who would have thought? Last thing I want to talk to you about here is some of these world-renowned, crazy nightclub parties that you guys have had in the past.
The
What's
work
story?
hard, play hard, right?
Okay.
So getting on a plane and going and promoting your company
Right.
to a convention or trade show, it is a lot of work. It is hard
long
work.
hours.
It's all day long. You're on your feet, typically on a concrete floor, promoting, oftentimes speaking. There's all sorts of things that go into that. And then it's usually followed by networking where you're talking. And at the end of the convention, one of the areas that we've tried to do is get together not only with ourselves, but many of our competitors and many of our business partners and go out and have a big night in a Vegas nightclub.
Yeah.
So you would go, you reserve a table, there's a DJ, and you just let loose, Andy.
Let it go.
I mean, you just let loose. And that release for all the hard work that the team put in,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many memories have been created for the employees over the years. And I love being a part of it. I got to tell you, I love being a part of it.
You wear the suit to the club?
There is no suit at the club. We actually have what's known as, for the guys, it's known as the uniform.
Okay.
The uniform is a pair of dress shoes, dark blue jeans,
Okay.
and a collared shirt.
All right.
Every time. And some of our different folks in the industry, they will say, well, are we going out tonight? I said, yeah, is it casual? Is it? No, it's just the uniform.
Just the company
Dark
uniform.
jeans, collared shirt, dress shoes.
And do you get out there on the floor?
So I do not get on the floor.
Okay.
But I do enjoy getting the fist in the air
Yeah.
with the team members. Typically we'll reserve a table and just, singing and just, I tell you, that, I don't know if it's endorphins or what it is, but that release with the whole team, it brings back memories to the office that everybody shares, and they just love it.
Now, what's the most expensive bottle you've bought?
Well, the problem is they put these minimums on these tables.
Right.
So typically, if you get a table, they're going to put a couple $1,000 minimum on the table. Now, people say, well, how can anyone drink that much alcohol? Well, the reality is the bottles are typically between $700 and $800 a piece. So it ends up not being a tremendous amount of alcohol. It's all about hitting that minimum. But I can't tell you how lucky we are to be able to be in an industry that allows us to be able to partake with our employees and let loose like that. So much fun.
I love it. And all this is about culture and how culture is relevant into industries today, companies today. How you scaled your business is keeping that culture inside of it there for you. I want to kind of shift gears here and talk about, earlier you mentioned COVID, which is this crazy kind of process that everybody's trying to work their way through and figure out and so forth. But a lot of people have questions about COVID and the market, COVID and the economy, COVID and real estate. Talk to me about what you see and how COVID has first just affected your business in general. Let's go there first. How did COVID affect your business?
Yeah, so I got a phone call on, I believe it was March 17th.
Okay.
From one of our secondary capital providers. And just kind of the behind the scenes of the way it works is we have our own capital in the marketplace that we lend.
Right.
But the way we're able to drive our interest rates down so low is we participate with hedge funds and different entities who will take our paper and securitize it. It's a way of bundling assets to be able to allow different investors who are looking for a higher rate of return participate in the investment space in the single family market. When the financial markets went, we'll say haywire in March, I got the phone call saying, we're pausing all aggregation for our securitizations, which basically meant they said the spigots are turning off on that capital source.
Line of credit, if you will, the funding. Give the viewers just a ballpark idea. What type of capital are we talking? $1 million, 10 million?
Oh yeah, it's millions of dollars. Like for example, we had almost $10 million that was in rental loans that was getting ready to go to the securitization market that sat on our books for 3 months.
Yeah.
During that time. Now, really what happened was the investor pool wanted to see how the single family marketplace was going to be affected from an investment standpoint. If folks weren't working, the stay-at-home orders, all of the different things that we've experienced over the past 3 or 4 months, how was that going to play out for the single family market? And really, it took about 8 weeks for the clarity to come into the marketplace. And that clarity was really driven by the ability of renters to be able to make their payments.
Okay.
Really for April 1st and May 1st. And when it became apparent that through the various stimulus and all of the moves that Treasury was making, that folks were able to make their payments, that clarity came back into the marketplace, and the secondary market where the capitalizations occur really unfroze. And it allowed us to be able to really ramp up our lending again. But it was a scary time, I must tell you, Andrew. It was very scary.
Do you think that with COVID, and talk to us a little bit about the current market that we're in right now, and then maybe a little bit also into the ripple effect down the road that you may see inside of this, and specifically in your industry, we're talking about in single family home investments. Right now, is the market hot right now? Is the market coming down, up right now? What do you see with the single family investments right now?
Yeah, so really let's go pre-COVID, right?
Okay.
So if you're looking at any number of charts on single-family aggregation from an investor standpoint, the appetite has been just ferocious. And really that's being driven by the lack of new construction on the single-family space.
Okay.
So really in layman's terms, there's more people, not only from an owner-occupied standpoint, but also from an investor standpoint, that are looking for single-family homes than there are available in the marketplace. That's pre-COVID. So where we sit today, and we can't say post-COVID because we're still in it, but let's say post-investor crisis,
Okay.
right? There is an increased demand from many folks who don't have a backyard who want one today. And we could get into any number of reasons why people want a backyard. But that has only really thrown gasoline on the fire that was already there. So while there wasn't enough single family homes it has only just gotten worse across the United States. Contractors are trying to ramp up, but it's not meeting the demand of both owner occupied as well as single family investors across the United States.
So like in most business, obviously it goes to a lot to supply and demand. And right now you're saying because the demand is high, home ownership and or just rental, roof over your head is still high, that the market itself is still going up, up, up. To add onto that, you have kind of this like, we'll call it a mass exit, maybe that may not be the right word, but a mass exit of people leaving the city, kind of headed to the suburbs. Do you think the overall downtown areas of some cities are going to lose value?
So I think there's going to be a challenge for many folks who have new construction in these areas that don't have them rented out currently. How long that will continue remains to be seen. It was interesting. Just yesterday, Amazon announced, I believe it was 6 cities that they were securing office space. This is new office space.
Right.
Because they believe that when the COVID crisis resolves itself, the interaction of humans from a workplace standpoint cannot be duplicated in the home work environment. And I think that's a big statement going forward for our urban centers, that there is challenges right now, but post-COVID, we believe that, the urban, all of the energy that all of the urban environment creates,
right,
whether it be socially or office-wise, I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't put out the close sign yet.
Because that's a unique viewpoint there, because a lot of people said that through COVID that they thought it was going to revolutionize office space and revolutionize industries to have a lot of the employees, even after COVID, stay at home, work from home, et cetera. And you're saying now with Amazon renting more space, saying, no, you got to have that office style energy, synergy that's taking place. So you see with Amazon more offices even expanding, if you will, after COVID.
Yeah, and it's just one company stepping up right now, right?
Right.
But as a leader in certainly all things technology-wise, I think it's a big statement. I think it's a huge statement.
Sure.
And I can tell you at RCN, I know today, having the majority of our company remote, and we did it for safety, right? We're based out of Connecticut, which was, us in New York, ground zero. I mean, we have a tremendous, the numbers are horrifying where we were. We couldn't get the employees home fast enough.
Yeah.
We did because we were set up for it, but they're still not back. But I can tell you from a leadership standpoint, we are missing on collaborations that occurred in our office place every day that aren't occurring today. We're busy and we're setting records and we're thrilled with that, but I know we are missing ideas that happen spontaneously by that human interaction.
Yeah. On the COVID note, you got any thoughts on, you feel like it's I maybe use the word over media played or under media played? What's your thoughts on how they're addressing this COVID thing? Are they overplaying it, underplaying it? Seems like they're pushing it out a lot constantly.
Yeah, I mean, once again, being from Connecticut, where we were really in the belly of the beast in April, I can tell you how bad it can get. And my wife would not leave the house to go to the grocery store because, guy 3 doors down was in the hospital on a ventilator.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the reality of where we are. So it's difficult for me to say, are they overplaying it? I hope that we get a vaccine very quickly. And I hope that in the meantime, those treatments continue to improve because, through my eyes, it was really bad. It
Right.
was really bad. Whereas in other parts of the country, they didn't see that of
Yeah.
just how bad it got.
Last question I have for you on the COVID thing was, you talked about how in April and May, when secondary market kind of saw rents came in, even to a certain degree, rent collections even went up, was mentioned. A lot of that, it seemed like, had to do with the unemployment, as well as the federal government stepped in to do unemployment, the $600 up to per week. Now that it's kind of on this, like, the fringe now, where it's not happening as much, we're down there a little bit further. Do you think if they don't address that and fix that unemployment with the federal government still stepping in, you think that's going to make rents go down?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a problem with folks in the hospitality industry.
Okay.
That just aren't going to be able to make their rent. I think people have been paying their rent because they had the income through the additional $600 to be able to do that. I don't know what the number is.
Right, sure.
I don't know if it's 300, 400, 600, but I do know that most state unemployments are not going to be enough for people to be able to keep their head above water.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a obviously nobody's ever faced kind of what we're going through, right? And everybody's trying to figure it out. But it's tricky because you have the one side that says if you give the unemployment dollars, it's kind of making people not want to go back to work right now because they can get at least as much as they were, maybe more, and not have to go back to work, and which is hurting the employers. On the same hand, I think about like some of these like restaurants where they're saying, hey, you can only have 50% occupancy there. Well, no one ever set out their model, their pro forma, to say, if best case scenario, I can do 50% of my model. Best case, if every single table that I have is full, which now means 100% of them will be full, I can succeed. And I think about the waitresses and waiters. They're not going to serve as many people. They're not going to seat as many people. They're not going to have as many tips. So that person is like, you're wanting them to go back to work, but only with half capacity. You put them in a very awkward spot.
Very difficult. And, I'm hopeful that the answer is coming sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I have to applaud the Treasury on how they've stepped up. As somebody that lived through the 2008 and 7-8, and in the real estate industry, it was way too slow. And this time, they stepped up in ways that, quite frankly, I couldn't even imagine. And it's really made a difference in stabilizing the United States economy.
Yeah, they did good. Let me talk to you about your name of your company, RCN Capital. And there's a little bit of story there, but what is the name RCN Capital?
So I'm going to take you back to 2010.
Okay.
Right. So myself and I had one employee at that time that I had brought on. We're sitting there figuring out how are we going to drive traffic.
Right.
Right. I mean, it was just as simple as that. How are we going to drive folks to find us? And as a wannabe internet-based company, that's what we were at the time. I knew that the success, especially with a limited amount of money that we were going to spend advertising until we got some cash flow going, I had to find a .com that was available. And even in 2010, the .coms were really kind of all soaked up. Flip.com or investor.com, they were all gone.
Right.
So I literally sat there with the Monster webpage open.
Okay.
And sat there for hours and days typing in names that we could name the company that would be recognizable to what we did, but more importantly, people could spell.
Yeah.
Many companies make the mistake of using way too many letters in their .com and people never find their website.
Sure.
So what did we want to do? Well, we wanted to professionalize the investor loan is basically what we did. And we were providing rehab dollars to those folks who were going to buy these investment properties, rehab them, and put them into the marketplace. So one day I stumbled upon rehabcashnow.com. Anybody can spell it. Anybody. rehabcashnow.com. And it was kind of hokey, but that's what we started with.
Right.
And over the first 3 years with, as guerrilla marketing as you get, it really did well for us.
Mm-hmm.
It really did. And then eventually when we obtained that first credit line back in 2013, we switched over to RCN Capital. And that really took us, out of the guerrilla marketing stage.
And so you guys shifted in 2013 to rcncapital.com, which is your website now.
That's correct.
Is rcncapital.com. You still own Rehab Cash Now?
Oh, yeah. You can go to rehabcashnow.com and
does it forward you over?
Forwards you right over.
Gotcha. Now, inside of that, one thing that I've always noticed about this is you don't have the word hard money. Which a lot of guys do that do this industry. You don't have the word hard money anywhere in your name, your company, your website. Why is that?
Yeah, so to me, hard money was everything that was wrong with the business that we were entering in 2010.
Yeah.
I've mentioned today to you how we wanted to professionalize a business. And really, hard money was the business of, well, this is the interest rate, I think.
Right.
But it might be different when you show up to close.
Right.
I know I'm telling you I'm going to give you that loan, but I don't know if I really want to make it at those terms that I already quoted you. That's hard money.
Right.
And I didn't want any part of it. I wanted to take a product and professionalize it. And that product was the single investor loan across America. And that's what we've done.
Yeah. Hard money's always had that negative connotation to it, in my opinion.
It has, and we've been a private lender from day one. We're a commercial lender. That's what we do. We make loans for business purposes.
Yeah.
But we do it outside of the traditional banking world, and that's why it's private. We use our own equity, and we access capital markets through the private securitizations.
Yeah. I love it. I love the idea of kind of getting completely separating yourself away from. And I know you're big on branding and how important branding is to a company as well, which I want to talk to you a little bit about. Before I do that, I want to talk to you about this thing of Jeff's favorites. And I want the audience to get to know a little bit about Jeff and some of your favorite items that you have out there. So we're going to go through a small segment called Jeff's favorites here. And I got a couple of them here for you. First of all, do you have a favorite influencer that you kind of follow, study, read, watch, whatever it may be?
It's a popular one, but Gary Vee to me has given me so many little tips. It's not life-changing tips.
Right.
It's little tips along the way over the past really 4 or 5 years that I've been able to bring in. His whole empathy. It's something that is part of our culture, and it's made us a better company, and it's made me a better individual.
Have you met him before?
I actually did meet Gary Vee last fall at a conference in Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Awesome. On that note, what is your favorite social media platform?
Yeah, LinkedIn by far.
You use LinkedIn?
Yeah, I use LinkedIn. As I have a limited amount of time to do a lot of tasks as the leader, LinkedIn to me is the one that gives me the biggest bang for the buck from a business standpoint, right? Like I just don't have time to see cat videos, and there's no time for that. But on LinkedIn, I get to put out personal stories about what's going on with our business, but by the same token, interact with other people in all segments of the mortgage business.
What is in case anybody wants to follow you, what is your LinkedIn handle there?
Yeah, so it's Jeffrey, Jeffrey, Tesch, Tesch, and the LinkedIn platform.
Gotcha. So we'll put it on the screen as well for you, but it's just your name, full name, Jeffrey Tesch is your handle there. Let's talk to me about what is your favorite holiday?
Oh, 4th of July.
Really?
Yeah.
I love when people don't say Christmas. Of course, that's, as you can imagine, the go-to answer.
Yeah, 4th of July.
Why is it 4th of July?
So there's a couple reasons. One, I'm a patriot. Like America to me, for all the things we've talked about today, it's unbelievable. But more than that, I live in New England.
Yes.
And it's cold there in the winter.
Yeah.
It's a long winter.
Sure.
It starts in November, hopefully ends in April, right?
Right.
So the 4th of July for us, it's like the peak of summer. It's tremendous. I'm fortunate enough to have a pool in the backyard. We have a big party every year, invite the neighbors over, friends, family. And it is just an absolute blast.
Yeah.
To me, 4th of July is the best.
And there's so much history in all that New England part of town with American history there.
Yeah.
I absolutely love going up there.
Yeah, it's really the pinnacle of the summer for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, do you shoot the fireworks or do you go just watch them?
So it depends year to year. There were no fireworks this year because of COVID. So we had a little display in our yard, but it depends on the year.
Yeah. Tell me about this then. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, without a doubt, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That's your go-to jam?
I'm a bit of a, kind of goobery family guy. I love throwing everybody in the car and going, places. And whether it be, just bringing everybody together at the holidays. Clark Griswold to me is the man.
Classic, man. That guy, and he made a bunch of them, but to me that was by far his best one.
Yeah.
With that Christmas Vacation there. Last one I got for you. What's your favorite? I got two more actually. What's your favorite Vegas hotel?
So for me, I always like Bellagio. Because Vegas is kind of a crazy place, and Bellagio is like a respite. You go into Bellagio and everything is perfection. Everything's the way it's supposed to be. You rest, you relax, you go out for nice dinners. To me, Bellagio and the fountains. It's just so beautiful.
I love Vegas. I stay a lot at the Super 8. If you've heard
the Super 8.
Yeah, it's just wonderful. It's outdoor. You have the outside the doors. It's great views.
A lot of interesting neighbors. I'm sure.
Dude, it's pure sightseeing. Last thing I got here for you is your favorite. You got the animal farm there at your office. What's your favorite animal though?
So for me, it's the chickens.
The chickens.
And the reason why is I have a small coop at home that my son built himself. We have 5 chickens at home.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just so cool having the farm fresh eggs.
I want to talk to you a little bit. I want to go a little bit more in depth here on kind of what your business does for the viewers watching. Some viewers may not be in real estate. Some viewers may be in real estate. They may be looking to grow their business, whatever it may be. I got started in fix and flip with using at that time, I'll call it hard money, and actually for me it was hard money at that time. But I want to kind of dive into a little bit more in depth there. Kind of give us a picture of who your kind of main criteria or your main kind of customer base is. What does that person look like for the viewers?
Yeah, so really, while we love the larger, more institutional customers, the folks that are doing 5, 10 a month, right?
Right.
They're great. That's not the bread and butter of our company. The bread and butter of our company is somebody who is doing 1, 2 flips every 3 months. So they might do 3 or 4 flips a year.
Right.
That is our bread and butter customer. And, to a lot of lenders, it's not attractive, right? Because, in America, most of the flips are happening between $150,000 and $250,000.
Right.
That's the American house. But that is how we built our company. We built it on the single asset customer.
Right.
And it's never changed. Do we love the bigger denominational loans? Who wouldn't?
Of course.
Right? But for us, that bread and butter customer has always been the single asset mom and pop flipper who might be doing it as a retirement, they might be doing it on the side, or they might just be getting going. The support that we provide them, whether it be the additional underwriting, the able to leverage up through access to capital, that is our core customer base.
Now, obviously, you guys do 250, 300 loans a month at your company there. I think you have a lot of insight that maybe a lot of people would never get to see as far as markets and so forth. If you were someone that was starting off today as a fix and flipper, and that's what you want to start at, is there a certain market that you would really look at as a great place to fix and flip right now?
Yeah, so a lot of the Midwest markets.
A lot of the Midwest.
Yeah. Right off the top of the head, Columbus, Ohio is unbelievable. Once again, it's the bread and butter housing of America, right?
Right.
You can buy a house for $125,000, put $25,000 into it, and it's worth, in the high hundreds, maybe $200,000.
Sure.
Those houses in the Midwest, especially in areas that are centric to universities,
Right.
are growing. Like in Columbus, you've got Ohio State.
Oh, they're there?
Yeah.
What's the name of that college?
Yeah, you might be familiar with
Never heard
old
of it.
Ohio State.
Never heard of
I'm
it.
not sure what your college team is, but
Alabama football.
oh, I'm familiar with old Alabama.
So great. Columbus, though, great market. Not
Yeah.
for football, but for flipping houses. I get it. I get it.
But that workforce housing, that is where folks are earning the biggest return on investment. The coasts, it's really tough right now.
Is it?
It's really tough. It's so competitive. But many of the investors today are rehabbing these houses or maybe just doing cosmetic repairs. And they're often taking advantage of our longer rental loans.
Right.
The idea of just making 10 or 15% on the flip and moving on, many folks are deciding to hold those for longer term rental.
Yeah.
This is a market that's growing like crazy, Andrew.
Now, with that rental, I want to talk about with you because you got interest rates at crazy rates right now. And do you see that being a great play right now of buying that house, fixing it up, maybe not as nice as a fix and flip,
Yeah.
but fixing it up as a great rental property, and then you guys at RCN will actually then turn that into also a long-term 30-year
Yeah.
rental loan, right?
Yeah, because of how much rates have come down and it's not really, everybody thinks COVID, the rates are down, but the rates have been coming down for the past really 36 months. The ability to lock in, think about this.
Right.
The ability to lock in 30-year debt
Yeah.
on a single family asset where somebody else is paying the mortgage, right?
Right.
Now, landlord business is tough. Let's not sell it short.
Sure.
But the reality is you can lock in debt today for an investor loan in the high fives for long-term security. So as attractive as the flip business is, and it's still a great business,
Right.
the idea of building wealth through acquiring individual assets in the single family, which really is the gold standard
Sure.
of investment aggregation, no matter where the country goes, single family homes generally perform pretty well. It's extremely attractive right now.
On that note, I know you talked about Columbus for fix and flip. I'm going to ask you for the same question for rentals. If you were starting up now and you were looking at a market thinking, hey, I'll go anywhere, what would be maybe one market that you would really look at as a newbie beginner?
Yeah, so Panhandle all the way across to Jacksonville.
Okay.
There is so much rental aggregation going on in northern Florida right now. As hot as Tampa is, I mean, it's a tremendous
Sure.
market. Orlando is amazing, but there's a real tremendous grab for investment properties right now. It's tough to buy right there. Whereas if you come a little north to Jacksonville, all the way across to Panama City, really you can get some nice return on investment right now.
Yeah, I live down in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra area, just
Yep.
south of Jacksonville. And that is a great market for rental properties.
Yeah, I
Absolutely
mean, once
love that
again,
the Jacksonville market is what I'm saying.
Sure, it's that $150,000, $200,000 house.
Yeah.
You get a nice return on investment there.
Awesome. I want to talk to you about, I'm going to move into money is, and I want to talk to you about your answer of what money is. Of course, we started the whole brand here talking about what money means to people. And my start again was in real estate, and I saw that need of so many people kind of chasing money, it myself included, as a fix and flipper wanting to make some quick cash, 20, whatever it is, 30,000 on a deal on buy, fix, and sell. And it seemed like there was a lot of misconceptions when it came to money. And so we started this whole brand on what money is. So I'm going to give you the sign, and we got your face here on it. And I'm going to have you fill out 1 word, 2 words, a sentence. It's all up to you. You put this here, and I'm going to have you sign it kind of in between here. I want to talk to you about this, what that word or what your answer is, however long it is, what that means to you, and get some insight from Jeff. There you go.
Yeah. So for me, money is security.
Okay.
And what do I mean by that, right?
Right.
Like when I was young, paper route, into working, I
Sure.
wanted the car, wanted to be the cool guy, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
You wanted different items that made you feel good.
Right.
But as I got older, I realized that money for me was security. That if I wasn't working for 3 months, I would be okay.
Right.
I would be able to provide for my family. For me, money isn't so much about the accumulation of assets that make you feel good as it is about security for the long term.
Sure.
And these days couldn't be any more evident than that.
Yeah, absolute proof for what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that word security, and because it's so unique. Because I've often go back to another word you use, empathy. During this time of this craziness that we have right now, I've literally sat and on purposely thought about. I do have the security with money and family and taking care of things and paying the bills and so forth. But without that security, like there's people out there, that are, especially now, that are massively hurting.
Yeah.
That don't know where that next rent payment, house payment is going to come from. And security is a great thing that money does provide. And
it really does, and it's it's personal, and it's one of the ways we ran our company, and the way we were able to keep everybody on the payroll, because we don't have the flashiest office.
Sure.
We have a lot of used furniture.
Yeah.
Right. We don't necessarily have the cool glass this and glass that.
Yeah.
But it's because the way that we run the company, I was able to provide for the employees, and that to me is priceless.
Yeah.
It's priceless.
Love it. I love also that you got a unique, I would say job, but a unique business that you actually are helping others create security for themselves, for their families, by providing 250 loans a month to people who are trying to reach that security with money.
No question about it. And it goes back to the beginning when we were building the company, which is we're providing capital for distressed assets. And the reality is America today doesn't really have distressed assets. There's small pockets around the country. But compared to where we were in 2010, we were providing capital for folks. Nobody wants to live next to an empty house, a vacant, boarded up house. Nobody wants to live next to that. The only way that changes is if an investor comes in and, through entrepreneurship, is trying to make a buck. But at the end of that, through the leverage with access to capital, you have a new family in there, paying taxes and providing that community support that you look for.
I love it. Fill it out.
You got
Let's see it.
There we go.
There we go. I'll show you the cameras here. I was thinking about this. I had a question that I've never asked any guest that I'm going to ask you here. You got money as security, Jeff Tesch here. But I had this question I was thinking about. Again, I've never asked any guest. Do you think that over time in your career of success that answer has changed for you? From the beginning maybe to now? You think it's changed over time?
Oh, it definitely has.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Mine did for sure.
And it's all but having a family, right?
Yeah.
Like when you go home and you realize that at the end of the day, myself and my wife, it's on us.
Yeah.
Right? You got to figure it out to make sure that there's food on the table, the lights bill is paid.
Right.
And it wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
I came from a middle class family, but there was no trust fund that I could fall back on. We had to figure it out, and that to me has never been lost, and that's why I use the word security.
Love it. I want to take just a moment here, and I want to give you kind of the platform for a second here. And you've got great success in your career, and not just business, but also personal side with relationship and children. But I want to give the floor for you here to talk about what would you want the viewers to take away from today. What would you tell the viewers that are listening to make sure they for sure leave with these key points that's helped you in business, success, life, etc.?
Yeah, really, as an entrepreneur, your people, and I know we've spent a fair amount of time talking about this today, but it really bears repeating, which is if you are not focused 100% on enabling your team to better themselves and be part of something bigger, your company is going to have a very, very difficult time enabling the potential heights that it could achieve.
Yeah.
And whether it comes from the pat on the back or the promotion from within or the celebrating the successes, all of those things add up to a culture that whether you're an entrepreneur that owns a small restaurant on Main Street, or somebody who wants to be the next great used car in your home community. It's the people to make that difference. And as the owner slash leader of your company, however you have it structured, it's incumbent upon you thinking about that daily.
Yeah.
And that's the best piece of advice I could give. If you worry about your people, you have a much greater chance of success.
I love that, man. It was unique. I was excited to see what you say there, and I was thinking about the viewers, and the viewers are watching. You're listening to a guy that multi-million-dollar business, 120 plus employees, one of the largest lenders in America right now, and his words of advice was not about your. The words of advice was not about your profit margins. It wasn't about that. It was about the culture of the people that are inside your company. It was about taking care of the individuals who make up the heartbeat and the soul of that company. And I love that a person at your success, that's what you went to, was the culture, was the people, not the profits.
Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, listen, I'm a capitalist. We have to make money at the end of the day. We're without profit, there's no reason for us to exist.
Right.
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
We do it to make a profit, but those profits enable me to hire more employees, give raises, promotions. The person who started answering the phones works their. I mean, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
The beauty of America is that capitalism. It comes with some flaws. It's not a perfect process, but out of all the processes, if you will, philosophies out there, by far to me it is the greatest. It is what built this country with some flaws, yes, but has built this country who she is today.
It really does an amazing job figuring out the needs.
Yeah.
For me, it's enabled me to give opportunities to people that I never would have even imagined.
I love it. Jeff, I appreciate you having on the show. You've got a lot of insight on market, on money, and you got a great word of security. You guys make sure if you're looking for any type of loans, rcncapital.com. Of course, you go to the old one at rehabcashnow.com
There you go.
as well. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. You guys watch next week on the Money Is Show.